The content presented is for entertainment purposes only. Some content may not be suitable for all viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello everybody, Jay Rhymes here with the Periodic Review. I hope you all are having a wonderful day. I just realized I accidentally closed one of the windows I needed to open for this particular Dirty 30 we're going to be doing here today. I know I'm a day late. I usually like to do them on Tuesdays when I do them, and I try to keep it between, about 30 minutes. So let's go ahead and jump right in. There's been a lot on my mind lately, and I did have one of our fans chat in through a direct message while I was over on BattleNet, and I thought it was a really good topic to talk about. And since I have a little bit of knowledge when it comes to music and being in different bands and stuff like that, playing out for many years, growing up in a very specific, a very rulistic, like has a lot of rules, kind of a religion. I kind of feel like I have a lot of opinions and thoughts about this. And so I wanted to kind of jump in here and talk to you guys about it. But before we do, we want to go ahead and let you guys all know that today's episode is sponsored by viewers like you. So thank you. You can send us all your topic ideas and articles and videos of links to theperiodicreview@gmail.com. That's theperiodicreview@gmail.com. All the information is down into the description. And just like this particular person, if we find it interesting and relatable and something that we definitely feel is a great topic to talk about, it could be put up on our page and we can discuss it. It might be one of the solo ones that I do, but it also might be with the rest of the periodic crew, the periodic review crew, which we try to do every Monday. We do a live show on the YouTube. So don't worry if you missed the past live stream. There's no need to worry because we got you covered. The Periodic Review podcast is now free on the go at Spotify.com. So don't forget to listen and rate the show today. Hopefully your subscription will be earned today, so don't forget to hit that red subscribe button, click that damn bell, and turn on your notifications so you don't miss a content release. The best way to support the channel is to share this live stream with family and friends, crush that like button, and leave us a comment down below. The second best way to support the channel is when you have a $5 or a $10 laying around, consider donating to the channel today. All of our links, like I said, are in the description section down below, so welcome to the show. Now, this particular person is one of my buddies we played Diablo 3 with. This is before decided to separate the channels so that we have a very focused view on the information that we want to talk about and share, kind of podcast style in these long form discussions. We're just three, everyday, lower middle class, citizens in America, just kind of sharing our thoughts and feelings, when it comes to politics, when it comes to, theology, or philosophy, as well as entertainment. So hopefully, we're doing a good job. And, this particular person, I believe, before they changed it to, the different characters, this is one of my buddies from across the pond. I think it was Robin Angel or Angel Robin, one of the two. Just wanted to say thank you for giving this wonderful idea. So I'll go ahead and we'll share the comment really quick. I saw you released a vid on inflation and stuff. I'm 100% about to listen to it right now, but I may have a question for you. What about music and religion up next? I'm super interested in your opinion as well as thought process, especially bands like Rammstein, Powerwolf, etc., which are more like we're sinners and we enjoy it as long as we can. Example, Powerwolf, but also songs that, maybe movies, Man in the Mirror, especially Kurt Nelson's Hallelujah. I don't know those two particular films. We'll go ahead and we'll take that comment away, but I thought it was really cool that I could share that with you that way. I guess let's start a little bit about my history with music. So I grew up in a very musical family, and especially growing up a member of the LDS faith, commonly known as Mormons. We did a lot of singing. We did a lot of like musicals. We did a lot of hymnals. We did a lot of singing. We also did a lot of music as well, with piano and guitar and stuff like that. So growing up around music a lot. And a lot of the family on my father's side are very musical. So a lot of violinists, cellists, singers. My uncle was and my aunt have been vocal coaches, as well as, our professors and teachers for different students and stuff like that. So I like to think I have a pretty good background in that area. And then kind of in my hedonistic years, kind of bouncing around back and forth, trying to figure out my own personal faith and feelings about things. I also got the opportunity to play rock music. A lot of inspirations would probably be like Stone Temple Pilots, the Foo Fighters, a little bit of Nirvana, definitely Jimmy Eat World. Those are probably some of the 4 top bands that really inspired and really got us to the point where we felt comfortable with putting together songs and releasing them. Did cut a few demos. Got to meet Robin from the Gym Blossoms. Got to meet a lot of different people in that circle. Got to open up for acts like Vaden. They were pretty big at the time while we were playing in the late 2000s. And when I think about music, here's how I view music. Like, it kind of depends on the day for me, because sometimes I listen to music when it comes to how I'm feeling that day. So I'm feeling very normal, very kind of average middle ground. I'm not like super crazy happy. I'm not like super crazy depressed. I'm like somewhere kind of like hovering around the 70, 80% percentile of, or like an 8, like a 7 or 8 on a 10 scale. As far as my happiness level, I'm just going to listen to what I normally listened to when I was growing up, with, splashes of, like some of today's music. Like, there's some songs I've enjoyed that I've added to my playlist, and I have like over 1,000 songs. And so I try to keep it very robust and, have a lot of different bands and have some different genres within it. So I have like, the 90s alternative rock and Seattle scene. Also got the also got some punk rock. Probably one of the most underrated genres out there is ska punk, or ska. SKA. It basically was a fusion of punk rock and Rastafarian music. And so that I thought was a really cool genre of music. Unfortunately, it was just a blip on the map, and all the other bands kind of took over. And I have like a lot of light rock, a lot of what I was considered classic rock back in my day, like AC/DC and Pink Floyd and stuff like that. Prog rock. I try to get a little bit of everything. I do have some rap and hip hop. I got some Skilo, some Will Smith, some LL Cool J, some of the kind of more tamer hip hop rap artists, just because I have some opinions when it comes to using certain words. And this is only something that I kind of came up with more recently, because I'm still kind of wrestling with the idea as far as like if I'm on board with, like, let's say Dan Bongino. He is a conservative, and I would probably consider him more a harder right winger, maybe even a little bit over the top at times, as he is not very nice to anybody else. But he is an absolutist when it comes to freedom of speech, meaning that he's okay with everybody saying everything and anything. I don't know if I espouse to that particular thought process, and that's just because I really don't know how I feel about having things that are out there that are not conducive for positivity, not conducive with, our way of life as Americans. And not that I'm saying we should censor certain things. I'm just not sure if I'm on board as like being an absolutist, allowing things like, fascism and Nazism and, blatant open racism, like online. Even though there's instances and individuals that are continually perpetuating those kinds of things. So, at the same time, it's kind of like it's already here. So why not? Because I really do believe that Joe Rogan had a really good way of putting it, where he said that bad points and bad thoughts can be remedied with good discussion and points and good thoughts. Meaning if you have something that's better, it can overcome things that are bad, if that makes sense. I'm kind of, paraphrasing and kind of bringing it really simple. So I'm kind of concerned because these kinds of bands, and I'm thinking of like these kind of shock and awe bands that are like, oh yeah, we're all about Satanism and devil worship and stuff like that. And I think there are some individuals out there in groups that actually do participate in these different things. However, I really feel and think that the majority of them are just going for the shock and awe. Things like Ozzy Osbourne, people like Alice Cooper, Marilyn Manson comes to mind. These kind of shock and awe kind of individuals, and they try to say and portray certain things to really really wonder what's going on with them. Like, you'd never really know, especially when you see in interviews for for the individual Marilyn Manson. It's obvious now that we're looking back and seeing them like normal without makeup and the contacts and stuff and the different outfits, that it was obviously something to express oneself and to give like a kind of a shock and awe to the audience, and to placate to that big middle finger to the man. And I get that, like I really do. So I'm kind of concerned, especially if there are individuals that are perpetuating things that are like human sacrifice and stuff like that. Like, that's not okay. Or like sex right rituals and stuff like that. Like it, when the things kind of get construed and it kind of gets away from kind of the natural order of things, then I kind of question it. Now, do I think there's a place for it? Sure. People are going to make music, they're going to upload it. And, obviously these different big conglomerate record labels aren't going to pick these individuals up. Obviously they're going to be in the dark corners of the internet. It's going to be, it's going to be on stuff like 4 and 8chan and stuff like that, assuming those sites are even running anymore. So, it's going to get out there one way or another. It's just the nature of the internet. It's about technology. It perpetuates these different things. And at the same time, on the other coin, especially when it comes to very religious things, like hymns and stuff like that. It's hard to say, but now that I'm talking about it, I'm almost on the side of, allowing people to express themselves and to share their thoughts and feelings through rhythm, through music, through singing. And I think the greater vast majority of music out there, there's a place for it. And I think for the most part, it's okay. It's just there are individuals who are doing very, gross and disgusting things. And obviously we want to keep those things away, definitely from children. And obviously we don't want to give those individuals, we want to definitely have good civil discourse to, what's the word? I can't pull the words right now for some strange reason, but definitely have, the discourse to be able to say, hey, this is not right, or this is not great for humanity. This is not good for America. This is not good for, insert any country here. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm struggling to be an absolutist when it comes to freedom of speech, because I don't think it's okay to openly perpetuate violence against people through speech, through like obviously if you say certain things, like you can't, wish harm like on the president without there being some kind of discourse. And I get that. Like, so maybe I would say, okay, that would make sense. And then obviously you can be free to say whatever you want, but you can't be free of the consequences that happen because of the things that you say or saying that you're going to do. Because I think there is a really good point where it comes to ensuring that we do have some kind of proactivity when it comes to, finding these children that want to go and harm people at schools, that want to harm people in buildings. And unfortunately, it still happens. And, those things aren't necessarily a gun issue. Obviously, we definitely need to address the mental health issues that are going on, especially around young children and teens. They're obviously not getting what they need at home. And obviously, parents are overworked and underpaid. So they're struggling just to kind of keep themselves afloat. How do they have the brain space and capacity of all the hours that they work to, ensure that their children have what they need to be good individuals in this country. So there's a lot to say for that. I mean, and again, I think the extremes of music that perpetuate bad things, I think, are very, very small. And I think for the most part, the ones that are seemingly bad are more or less looking for the shock and awe value, not necessarily, oh yeah, we're heathens and we're going to do hedonistic things and, listen to our music. I think it's more or less a facade, or it's a phase. A lot of these people, grow out of these kinds of things and, they kind of move on with their lives. But that's kind of my thoughts on that when it comes to music and like films and stuff like that. And there's definitely something to say for films, especially when they portray things like death, when they portray things like bodily harm against people. And it was really interesting. I've been listening every once in a while on Dan Carlin's Hardcore History, and he really gives a pretty big deep dive, like many hours, onto the things that we did that were painful against human beings. And it's kind of interesting because it kind of compares and contrasts and reflects back and forth as far as, the things that we did and we had, almost like entertainment, like when it comes to the Romans, when they had individuals go into these pits and fight, wild boars and lions and tigers and bears and oh my. And then they would have these gladiators come in, and some of them were enslaved or indentured servants or whatever. And their job was to become the greatest. They were kind of like the worldwide wrestlers of our time, except for instead of it being like the worldwide wrestling that we know right now in tights and, rolling around and throwing, each other around, it's more like MMA, but to the death. So there was a lot of bloodshed, and there was a lot of, appendages being removed as well as, heads being removed from their, from their shoulders. And that was entertainment back then. And so we kind of have that going on nowadays in film and TV series, where they have these very grotesque and very, very gross things. And it, even watching these different films and stuff that are mature rated or have R ratings and stuff like that, they still shock and awe even me today, even though I understand and know that it's, it's computer graphics, or it's fake, blood, or it's fake appendages and stuff. So, I mean, I understand the industry enough, because I there was many years when I was in grade school and high school where I was on track to go to film school, and become a director. So I kind of have an idea. One of my favorite things to do is to sit there and watch. Oh gosh, I wonder how they got that scene, or I wonder how they got that guy's skin to melt off his face, or whatever. And so I was watching these how they made it, kind of behind the scenes, commentary and DVD extras. Yes, that's right. Like DVDs was a big deal back in my day, before Blu-ray, and before that it was VHS and Betamax. And before that, you didn't really have like film and TV shows in home. You had to watch it on the television when it aired. Like, you didn't have the ability to record it or have the on-demand live streaming, or being able to binge watch series as we do today. So it's been very, very interesting. And so kind of going off of the second part of what our buddy here mentioned to try to talk about is these different films and TV series where they go into depth of, mutilation and self-harm and sacrifice and, the occult, witchcraft, angels and demons and stuff like that. Like, I still watch the stuff, and some of it's interesting, some of it's over the top, sure. Some of it's not enough, and some of it is just kind of like, meh. So I guess, are we still in a world where we can have all that, and still feel like we still have a bit of our humanity? I would say yes. I think some people and psychologists would say, well, that just exacerbates the situation, especially if somebody has those kind of tendencies where they want to do those, like serial killers and stuff like that. But they're a very, very small percentage of our overall, like, even in the world, it's a very, very small percentage of individuals who struggle with those kinds of things. And I think psychologists would say that there are some benefits to having these, although very realistic looking and feeling, but still virtualized. It's not actually people like doing these kinds of things. And the question is that, would it be better off for us to not have those kinds of things? And, there could be an argument to say, well, maybe we shouldn't have as much violence in film and in series, in movies and television series. There is an argument for that, but there's also an argument for, well, maybe this is how we keep people in line, because our society is working in a way where it's not okay for people to just walk up to somebody because they're angry at them to just, start, punching them in the face. That's not okay. That's not right in our society. But at the same time, we still have those natural urges where we want to go walk up to somebody after they've honked at us or they got out of their car and started waving their arms at us, and we want to go punch them in the face. So it's like, okay, well, how do we hold back those inner demons, so to speak? How do we hold back that kind of violence? Because men, historically, very, very violent. So it's kind of like this amalgamation of, trying to have a sense of civility, but also realizing that we do have natural tendencies to do certain things. And especially, we could even say that for young children. Like, young children are able to produce offspring very, very young. And just because our bodies say, okay, we can do this, doesn't mean that society says it's okay. And in fact, it's gross. So there's definitely something to say for that. And when we start normalizing things, when it comes to, when it comes to violence, when it comes to sexuality, when it comes to what is proper and what is not, what is good, what is bad, what is truth, what is, what is false. It's really important to kind of figure out the balance of it all. Because obviously, kids shouldn't be having kids when they're 12 and 14. That's way too young. And especially trying to have complex relationships when they're just trying to get through high school. Very, very difficult. Now, I had a very, very good friend of mine who met his wife. She was very young, underage. He was over the age of 18. And obviously, they had a child, got consent, got married, and they were very happy for many, many years. And I know there's individuals who have gone through that when they were very, very young, and they were able to get through all of that, and they were, they became great people, and they were able to be productive, happy individuals in society. But on the other hand, especially when it comes to men and women trying to, young men and women trying to navigate these kinds of things that young, it's very, very confusing. And I think what's really interesting, kind of going back to how I was struggling with, my sexuality, because there were so many adults at that time that were just like, how come you're not going and dating girls? Like my daughter is the same age as you, in your grade, in your class. Why aren't you taking her on dates? Like, this is like, the whole LDS faith. Like, when you turn 16, you start dating and kind of getting into that mode of maybe getting married, when you get back from your mission. And so it was a very confusing time for me, because I just wanted to enjoy where I was at. Like, I'm very in the moment kind of person. When I'm in the moment, I'm really experiencing it. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm having a great time. And sometimes a lot of those things that are more nuanced, especially around that age, and especially in that culture, when, you're 16, she's 16, you guys should be going on dates. You guys should be going to the sock hop. You guys probably don't even know what the sock hop is. You're probably all much younger than that. I don't even remember sock hops. Although they kind of did that every once in a while for like church dances and stuff, to try to get you to the point where you would want to get to that point where you want to marry someone. But yeah, so the adults were like, this is very strange. And they would ask me, do you like girls? Do you like boys? Like, do you not like anything? Like, what's going on here? And it wasn't a matter of like a preference or anything like that. And I didn't even think about it, because I was just having fun hanging out with my friends. I was having fun playing video games. I was having fun playing Pokemon and Magic the Gathering. And I think at that time we were playing, what game was it? Not Asheron's Call. World of Warcraft maybe at that time. Diablo 2. I don't know. I was just having fun, with my friends. Yeah, there were some girls that were looking my way, and looking back, I mean, I was very, very surprised of how innocent I was, and not realizing that there was so many young girls that were interested in, dating me at that time. I just wasn't interested in it at that time. I knew I was being pushed and encouraged very heavily and very forcefully to go on a mission. And obviously what was really strange was, I remember my exit mission interview with my mission president. It was a very, very strange, kind of ominous, because I really didn't want to leave, because it was very simple, way of living. It was a very simple way of life. That was probably the closest I ever felt to God. Probably the closest I ever felt, to trying to understand something that didn't make sense to me. and I just couldn't figure it out. And in that interview, my mission president goes, Jacob, if you are not married by the time you were 25, you're a menace to society, and you failed as a missionary. You failed as a member of the LDS church. And I was like, well, and of course, a lot of other things ensued. I got engaged to the wrong person, really struggled with not only my personal beliefs, but my religion, my relationships with, with prospective wives. I was engaged a couple of times, and it was just really tough. But I think kind of getting back to our subject here and kind of closing it up as we are just hitting our 30-minute mark is I do feel like there's a place for everything, as long as it's not hurting themselves or hurting others. I think violence and perpetration of any kind of, willing or unwilling or underage or overaged or whatever is not great. But obviously we can ensure that we have discourse to disagree with those thought processes and to disagree with the negativity or whatever the case may be, one way or another, because I also feel that sometimes religion can be overbearing and it can be very controlling, which is, why it's had such a checkered past, because it was used to keep the lower class and the poor, to be subjugated, with kings and priests and presidents and stuff like that. And that's just not okay either. But anyways, I hope this was a great episode for you guys. Angel Robin Angel, whoever you are, thank you so much for the idea. Again, if you guys do have links, topics, articles, videos, you can send all of that information to theperiodicreview@gmail.com. The email address is in the description down below. And from my family to yours, good night. Hello everyone, Jay Rhymes with the Periodic Review. Today's video is sponsored by viewers like you, so thank you. Hopefully we've earned your subscription today, so don't forget to click that subscribe button and hit that damn bell to turn on your notifications so you don't miss a content release. Check out the video links at the end of every video to view our previous content, as well as visit the description section for more links to enjoy. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and from my family to yours, good night.